After a long break of not posting, you can now look forward to lots and lots of posting. I'll probably be doing daily uploads for the week. So, what's my reason this time for not posting for a long time? Pretty much, we went over our internet limit like a week and a half ago, so I had to go that long without internet, which is just a sad thing. It's a really sad thing to go that long without internet because we went over our gigabyte limit. So yeah, we'd be charged extra if we didn't. So I just didn't because I'm not a jerk. So yeah, and it was my fault for going over this time because I was watching a lot of the sixth season of Digimon Cross Wars. God, I love that season so far. I still can't say it was better than the other ones because I've not done it, but yeah, so watching a lot of that, and I can watch that again, which is cool. So we have a UU battle against AceTrainerCurt. He has a YouTube. You should check him out because I told you to. So now you have to do it because I just said so. Looking at his team here, I do notice the Bronzong and the Maltic stand out to me as defensive cores, just because if I can get rid of one of them, Victini and or Honchko, depending on which one I do, can really wreck his team with V creates and sucker punches and brave birds and all that fun stuff. So decided to lead off with my Scarf Victini since it's a pretty decent lead, and he ends up just leading off with his Bronzong. Pretty awesome for me. Not gonna overpredict on my first turn. Just gonna go straight off for the V create because even though Maltic is best switching for it, still doesn't take it as well as it would like to, so that's nice. Switches it in, I am locked into it. No reason to really stay in here, so I'm just going to switch out into my Rose Raid, figuring he's probably just going to Scald, and he just does that, and that is all good and stuff. Again, just going to play it safe here and go for the Leaf Storm. I'm not really fearing much to switch in, and he ends up just switching into his Bronzong, and it does a really awesome chunk. This thing probably is physically defensive, judging by how much this Leaf Storm did, because this does like 40% or something, so that's pretty nice. I'm figuring he's going to set up his rocks here, and I was contemplating whether going for the Sleep Powder on the Maltic before, but I was like, don't really need it, so I'm just going to go for the HP Fire here, just figuring he's going to set up his rocks, like I said. And yeah, those get up, and now Bronzong is low, so I'm happy and stuff. Just going to switch out into my Spinner right away, because I wasn't really fearing the rocks, because I had a Blastoise. I don't even know why I set them up so early, but Blastoise comes in here, and he's going to switch out into his Umbreon. Not really sure why, I guess to take any hit from my Rose Raid, so just gonna go for the spin because I have nothing really to fear from it. The worst thing it'd do to me is maybe Toxic, I guess, but that's kind of whatever. He ends up going for the Wish, and yeah, I'm figuring he's going to want to heal up his Bronzong, so I'm just going to go for the Roar, predicting him to switch into that Bronzong, and that means that thing doesn't get healed up, but instead whatever gets roared in gets healed up, which would be Mienshao, which is at full health, so that was a pretty cool play for me. Yes, this thing has pressure, so those are probably a missav on his part, which didn't really come into play, so I'm not going to really bitch about it, just like Regenerate would have been a better ability, so it made his Pokemon worse, but it didn't really come into play because I go for the Skull, don't get the burn, does over half, and then he just misses High Jump Kick after getting a Swords Dance up. Not sure how much that would have done. +2 at High Jump Kick may have killed me, so that may have really hurt him overall, but hard to really theory on about it since it was so early in the game. This game is really long, as you can tell. After going into Nidoking, I went into Flygon predicting the stab move or the ice or the Thunderbolt, and yeah, that does little. Judging by how much it does, it looks like it's Life Orb. So yeah, go for the U-turn predicting his switch, and he goes into his Flygon, and yeah, it takes a lot of damage from it. Gonna go into my own Blastoise. He ends up U-turning off on it, and I'm just gonna go for the Skull to hit something, or that thing stayed in. That would have been nice, but I was mainly predicting him to switch. So unfortunately, I do get the burn on the Umbreon because Scald hates me and only burns when I don't want it to burn, so that's going to lower my Blastoise's survivability by a shitload, and that's just going to overall make me a sad thing. And this thing does have the heal bells, you'll see in a bit, and that really does suck, so that means I got burned for no reason. So I had to go to my Registeel now because this game is kind of getting dragged out a lot, and I do want to get my rocks up as soon as possible since he doesn't have a spinner, so let's go for heal bell to heal off the burn. He is going to go for the Wish now to heal up something, so this team is kind of really stalling, and that is making me sad. So do get the rocks up, and he's going to switch into his Bronzong, and this time he's going to be able to successfully get it healed up, which does suck. But I do I go into my Honchko here. I'm not sure why, actually. That was a weird play for me. I probably should have gone into the Victini if I was so sure the Bronzong would come in. But anyways, it's not the best matchup for me since Bronzong really doesn't really fear me too much. So yeah, it's the one thing Honchko can't really take on. So I'm going to go into Victini predicting Gyro Ball or Stealth Rocks to be set up again. So that's nice. Just going to go for the safe V-Create again, and get used to seeing Maltic take V-Creates, because Maltic is going to be taking a lot of V-Creates in this really long match. So that V-Create does a good chunk. Still doesn't look like after Leftovers that another one will take it out, and I really don't want to risk losing my Victini to a Scald, so just going to switch into Rose Raid again. He ends up going for the Recover, which I thought he'd do, but again, it wasn't worth the risk, so That thing gets healed up to pretty much full, which does suck. Again, I don't want to go for the sleep powder because that'll give it Marvel scale and that'll just make it harder for Victini to take down later. So I'm just going to go for the sludge. No, I'll go for the HP fire, predicting him to go into Bronzong. Okay, that works, I guess. And he switches into Umbreon, which does very little. I think I just stay in here and go for the Sludge Bomb just to gauge how much it can do. And it does do a good chunk here, so it looks like Sludge Bomb plus Leaf Storm will take it out. But he ends up going for the Wish, and yes, Wish is usually followed by everyone's favorite move, Protect, so that means I don't get to hit him with Leaf Storm, and he gets back up to full, and this team is just really annoying. So that does suck. Again, I was contemplating again putting the Umbreon to sleep, but I kind of want to save my sleep for something more useful. So I go into Honchkrow, knowing I can nail it pretty hard with the Brave Bird. I'm just going to go for the safe Brave Bird because I don't really feel the need to predict here. Ends up going into his Bronzong, and it takes it not as well as you would think, even though this Bronzong is just not taking it as well as I would think. Maybe this is why it's UU now, but yeah. He gets healed up all the way to Wish, so that really does suck for me. I'm just going to go into my Victini, again, predicting Gyro Ball or Stealth Rocks. He goes for the Stealth Rocks this time, which isn't that big of a deal, because I still have my Blastoise alive. Still not going to bother predicting the Maltic come in. Still going to keep playing it safe and going for the V-Create, because I really want to get rid of that Bronzong, because if that Bronzong goes, Honchkrow has a field day. But if I can get rid of this Maltic, my Victini will have a field day. So it's a hard prediction to make, and I'm deciding just to keep playing it safe for now, since I don't really... It's not worth me going for the Fusion Bolt and that Bronzong staying in, so that's what I'm trying to say. Ends up going for the Dragon Tail, predicting me to switch, and he Dragon Tails me back into Victini, which was like literally the worst thing he could have possibly done. I'm just gonna switch straight back into my Blastoise. Not sure why I didn't U-turn there, but okay, whatever. Ends up going for the Recover this time. I'm not really sure why, and that's awesome for me because now I can just get the spin off, and now I don't have to worry about him shuffling my team too much. So yeah, I kind of want to keep my Victini healthy. So I'm gonna go for the spin, yes, and ends up switching back into the Nidoking, which is a huge threat. It's really the only thing that Blastoise really fears is this Nidoking. So yeah, I'm getting really withered down by Burn. Have to switch out here. I decided to go into my still predicting him to go for the Sludge Wave again. Ends up making a pretty awesome play and predicting that of some sort and going for the Earth Power. So that does a lot of damage, and it's going to be an easy 2 KO. I decide just to stay in to let him kill me. Ends up going for the Fire Blast and misses, and I get an Earthquake off, which does do a lot of damage. The Nidoking survivability really didn't come into play, so that Fire Blast missed really didn't matter at all. So he's going to go for another one. I guess he's going for Fire Blast, half predicting me to switch into Honchkrow or Flygon, I guess, but whatever. I'm going to go into Rose right now. I know I'm faster, so I'm just going to go for the Leaf Storm. I'll go for the Sleep Powder here and end up missing the Umbreon on the switch, which does suck. But it kind of makes up for other hacks, so I'm not going to bitch about it too much. So Victini, I'm going to switch Victini in here since I don't really think this thing carries the payback because I really haven't seen any attacking move from this thing yet. So goes for 2 protects because it failed on the first one. I'm going for the Brick Break because it's a pretty decent neutral move on all of his guys. So he does see Brick Break, and then because of that, he can safely switch into Bronzong decently. So takes very little, and I think he did set up a Wish. Did he? No? Okay, I think he protected and got a Wish up. I forget, but have to switch out here, obviously. Going to go into Rose Raid. Not really sure what he's going to do. Ends up going for the EQ, which does suck. That's going to take out my Rose Raid, and I think that's like one of the first Pokemon to die at this point, because this game is just really, really slow. So going to Victini now, and I think this is when I finally decide to predict the Maltic switching in and go for the Fusion Bolt. Is it? Do I predict Maltic? I finally predict Maltic. There we go. Fusion Bolt. I end up getting a crit on this. Most likely didn't matter just because obviously I'm faster and I could have 2 KO'd him, but he still could have switched down to his Nidoking like there after he saw the first Fusion Bolt, so I'm not really sure how much it came into play at the end of the game. But Nidoking switches in any event, just gonna go into Blastoise half as fodder, pretty much as fodder since I really can't take any hits anymore. But Ice Beam crit obviously didn't matter because he would have 2 KO'd me with literally anything. Gonna go back into Victini now and just lock myself into V-Crate. Now that the Maltic's dead, I can just start wreaking some utter destruction and mayhem with the power of the V. And yes, Umbreon switches in and does a shit ton of damage because it's a motherfucking V-Create. I think here he does end up going for the Protect for some reason, which really kind of does suck, because if you can tell from this match, I've used V-Create a lot of times, and yeah, so burning my PP is actually pretty smart, because I am running out of V-Creates at this point, if I remember this game correctly. I think that's like my 5th one, so I only have like 3 more left, I think, so do take out the Umbreon, which wasn't that big of a threat to my team, but it's nice to get it out of the way. Flygon switches in. I'm going to predict him to go for the Earthquake and go into my own Flygon. He ends up going for the U-turn, which is fine. I know I can take one since he isn't banded. He's obviously Scarfed because every Flygon is Scarfed, but he ends up switching into his Nidoking. I'm just going to go for the Outrage, figuring I'd be faster and I could take him out, but he actually was trying to bait me to go for the Earthquake, I guess, and and get a free switch into his Bronzong. Ended up going for the Outrage because I'm banded. It still does a decent chunk, but he's still going to be able to live it fairly easily and be able to kill me off with a Gyro Ball, and that is going to be the end of my Flygon, which really didn't need it for much, so I really wasn't that crying about it, but at this point, I think I only have Victini and Honchkrow left, which is really all I need, so I'm going to be fine. Gonna go for the V-Create now, get rid of this Bronzong, which really means that it's pretty much my game from here, because Honchkrow, at this point, can just sweep his team with Sucker Punch, so from this point on, it's my game. He ends up going into his Flygon here. I just stayed in here to let him kill me, because again, Honchkrow can just kill his entire team. But he ends up making an over-prediction, predicting me to switch, and goes for the U-turn, which does suck, because it still doesn't kill me despite the -1, which is why I always say Scarf Flygon is a wimp and can't deal damage at all, so he ends up having to switch into his Nidoking into my V-Create, and that was my last V-Create PP, I think, so he now goes into Flygon, finally decides to go for the Outrage to kill me off, but that's his last, and my last is a Honchkrow that has a Sucker Punch with Flygon's name on it, and that is going to be a great game, and a really awesome EU match, so that is going to be a good game, so that is, yeah, awesome battle. That's all I have to say about that match. That was really awesome. Have some more battles and lots more Plants vs. Zombies to come. Like I said, daily uploads for at least a week, probably even more. So I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. My goodness.